Breaking. The orange man is not messing around. President Trump wants to pump Bitcoin now. Not only did he announce earlier this week that he is launching a Bitcoin ETF, but he is also demanding the Genius Act and the legal framework for Bitcoin and crypto on his desk immediately.
An exclusive first look at what could be the biggest crypto bill of the year coming out of D.C. Banking Chairman Tim Scott, along with Senator Cynthia Lummis, introduced a framework today for a piece of legislation that would really provide the rules of the road for crypto and other digital assets. Now, this framework includes things like a definition of digital assets, when they would be regulated as a security versus as a commodity. The framework for the bill commits to reducing regulation, and it also says that there is a need for a small common sense package of measures directed at things like preventing money laundering and sanctions evasion. Now, the bill is yet to come, but Lummis, who called for the bill to pass before the end of the year, has said in a statement to CNBC that while the European Union and Singapore have established clear regulations, U.S. continues to sit on the sidelines while the digital asset industry seeks greener pastures. That changes today, she says. The new outline builds on momentum last week when the Senate passed a stablecoin bill with strong bipartisan support. Trump is now pushing for the House to move on that bill, saying on Truth Social that the House must get it to my desk ASAP, no delays, no add-ons. But the House has their own version of not just the stablecoin bill, but also today's introduced bill on market structure. And Chairman French Hill says he wants them to move together before the end of August. So a lot of crypto news coming up on Capitol Hill. Becky?
What does he know that we don't? Is he potentially trying to front run the upcoming bull run? Today, I'm going to dive into why Bitcoin is back over 107K. And in case you missed it, the money printing Supercycle was just announced. Send it! All right, while Jay Powell is playing hardball, the Fed just verified the most bullish Bitcoin bull run of our lifetimes. Because not only are rate cuts in July on the table, yes, you read that right, 7 rate cuts are on the table for 2026. Breaking! There is no flattening this curve. And it's possible. The money printing supercycle heading our way cancels green, 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 red. And a supply shock unlike anything the world has ever seen sends Bitcoin parabolic. We got massive news out of Texas, who apparently is about to smash buy Bitcoin. And the largest mortgage insurer in America is exploring requiring borrowers to hold Bitcoin. That's right. It's happening.
Not for, if you just look at the basic data and don't look at the forecast, you would say that we would have continued cutting. The difference, of course, is at this time, all forecasters are expecting pretty soon that some significant inflation will show up from tariffs. Now, and we can't just ignore that. But we're not. We're just saying let's wait and see more. That's all we're doing. And if you will have noticed, a substantial majority of the committee has written down rate cuts in the remaining 4 years, four meetings this year. So it's just a question of being prudent and careful. But at a time when the labor market is still strong, we don't see weakness in the labor market. If we did, that would change things. We're going to continue to adapt as the data adapt. But that is the difference between then and now. Then, inflation was forecasted to continue to come down. Here, it's forecasted to go up by all forecasters. So, and again, we're not overreacting to that. We're just saying, hey, as long as the economy's strong, we can take a little bit of a pause here. And that's what we're doing. And again, continue to adapt as the data comes in. If we see data that suggests that inflation's not going to produce big increases, that would matter. And if we saw the labor market weakening, that would matter too. But we don't see those things.
Jay Powell, yet again, unwavered by the president, who had this to say about the Federal Reserve.
They don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
I know you guys saw the Trump clip, but what about the Vance flipping the bird? I think we all know by now, this is not our grandma's government. And the cage matches are surely coming next. I would love to Bruce Buffer that by the way. But you know what will make you have to empty your pockets into the swear jar? This will do it. Boom! As Bitcoin sniffs new all-time highs, global debt has 3x'd since 2008 to a whopping $324 trillion. What does that even mean? The US itself is already at 37 trillion and it's rising between 80K to 100K a second. And spoiler alert, it's not going to slow down. It's going to accelerate. Rate cuts could come as soon as next month, and you have the opportunity to front run the money printing supercycle. 7 cuts heading this way in 2026, and Jay Powell dropped this little dime as well. The banks are coming.
Banks are the regulated entities that are in the digital assets or crypto space.
So our view is that banks get to decide who their customers are. That's not our decision. And so banks are free to provide banking services to the crypto industry, to crypto companies. And banks are also free to conduct crypto activities as long as they do so in a way that is, protective of safety and soundness.
Thank you very much. Let me shift gears because I want to give you just...
Speaking of banks, look at this news from Barclays, literally banning card users from buying Bitcoin while aping into Bitcoin ETFs. It's a tale as old as Jamie Dimon. And the banks are coming, and so are the U.S. states. Here is Julian Ferrer on the Texas Strategic Bitcoin Reserve and what it means.
Because when we talk about states and we talk about strategic Bitcoin reserves, as wonderful as they are, often we're not talking about investment amounts that are going to be market moving on a case-by-case basis. Texas might be an exception, being the 8th largest economy in the world. Many states are much smaller. Yeah. But if you look at the size of these public pension funds, they're orders of magnitude bigger. Tens of billions of dollars under management. And these are funds that are underperforming. Yeah. So I would say, and I'm not the first person to realize this, many of these reserve bills have touched on this issue to try and get approval, give the green light to these pension funds to invest in Bitcoin ETFs and other things. Right. But I would say that's maybe the next story, is what's going to happen with these public retirement funds, because it's a lot of money and there's a huge need.
Yeah. And I guess I want to scroll out here big picture. Texas just made this big move. What do you feel like this signals to institutions, lawmakers, and like the next wave of Bitcoin curious states going forward? Is this just full send ahead, or, I don't know, what do you think?
I think it's an incremental process, right? It's an incremental process of convincing, at the end of the day, we're talking about individual people whose minds need to be changed. Right. It's easy to forget that sometimes when you zoom out and you talk about macro developments or quote unquote the market. What is the market going to do? Really, the market is made up of individual people. Right. Some of these individual people, like Larry Fink and others, who are responsible for making very important decisions about the trajectory of enormous asset managers in this country, at least, they can be orange-pilled. Yeah. Just the same way that Michael Saylor was and that Larry Fink was, right? So they also have questions. They have reservations and they have their own doubts. So every single time the state like Texas passes a Bitcoin reserve bill, or any other bill, whether it's related to commercial codes or money transmitter laws or the Genius Act passing or anything.
Speaking of Larry Fink and the supply shock that's going to melt our faces, look at these numbers. That is just BlackRock alone. More and more are catching on to what is happening, and they are finding the solution. And that is why there is a mad dash to pass legislation by this administration. Because if we are going to adopt Bitcoin as a means to mitigate the national debt, well, then you better get to stacking and inflating that debt away. Oh, wait, looks like we are moving back at 108K now since we started working on the show this morning. And this just in, the SBR could be coming sooner than the other bills. Yes, the bill for the U.S. to buy 1 million Bitcoin. Check it out.
One thing, if I can jump in on this, Cynthia, and Cynthia's Bitcoin Act, I think may actually end up being the one that we move forward on because of the strategic reserve that is there. And President Trump has done an executive order on that, and Cynthia's leadership is so vitally important on that. Now, here is one thing, and it involves everyone that is in this audience. The more accepted Bitcoin becomes, and then people realize there is an opportunity to take these assets that have been the confiscated assets and really put the base in place for a strategic reserve and how it helps us hedge against currency risk, how the growth helps us deal with the debt. These are becoming components that are more widely received as more people have their blue wallet on their phone and they're looking at the value of their Bitcoin and the importance of President Trump moving forward with that and Cynthia's leadership to codify that action, I think has a significant impact, and more of our members are realizing the value of doing that.
Senator Lummis, talk about... Did you guys catch that new Bitcoin treasury company last night? Is it getting a little frothy out there? What do you guys think? My personal advice is to buy Bitcoin, not a paper claim of Bitcoin, while aiding someone else in buying Bitcoin other than yourself. Frothy, I don't know, but I'm not getting on board. And there's still a lot of companies short and not holding Bitcoin on the balance sheet, and a massively bullish development is taking place behind the scenes with Bitcoin and real estate. We're about to bring it home, but before we do, look at our likes!
3 or 4 times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp while we take a moment to recognize our friends powering this show over at the Bitcoin Way. Nation states are hacking banks and exchanges. Self-custody of your Bitcoin has never been more important, and if you're looking to learn how to get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into self-custody, if you want to learn how to run a node and take back your privacy, you're going to want to head over to the Bitcoin Way and begin your journey towards Bitcoin sovereignty today. If you're looking to get started, you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation using that link in the show notes. Oh, and have you ever tried to explain this to your friends and they just roll their eyes and ask if you caught the game last night? Boom, we got you covered. The Orange Pill app is the single largest repository of Bitcoin-only events in the world. Connect with over 16,000 other Bitcoiners in real life. Bitcoin is better with friends, and now you can zap them instantly all in one app. What are you waiting for? Download the Orange Pill app today, go hit a local meetup, and who knows? The connections you make could last a lifetime.
I am, as a public servant, completely financially divested of any conflicts of interest with any healthcare companies, any stocks, any lawsuits that I would financially benefit from. Are you?
Yes.
You're completely divested.
Yes.
You have no financial interest in any lawsuit, crypto, none of that.
No. Oh, okay. Crypto? I own Bitcoin.
Okay. And do you have any other securities or assets?
I don't. I mean, I had to go through this with the Office of Government Ethics, and I had a few interests that were very minor that I divested.
Okay, just checking. I'd always like to.
No, it's a good question.
I always like to know
what
the field is before I enter conversations. So thank you for that.
RFK just said, crypto? Never touched the stuff. I own Bitcoin, GFY, AOC, and now, big finish time. The most unaffordable housing market in history is showing signs of weakening, and it looks like mortgages are about to get a Bitcoin makeover. The largest mortgage insurer in America is looking into reverse mortgages and the CJ Constantinos model. Bitcoin is pristine collateral. Do you know what's going on?
They don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Wait, did the president just... You're right, he did. I think it's settled on Bitcoin Employee of the Month, though it was absolute madness. Valhalla is coming. Sit back, strap in, and enjoy the movie, my friends. And don't forget to get those tickets to Mining Disrupt 2025. The hash war is heating up, and the biggest Bitcoin mining event of the year is heading to Dallas, Texas, November 11th through the 13th. See the latest innovations, hear from industry leaders, and catch Simply Bitcoin at the news desk. We hope to see you there, and don't forget to use promo code SimplyBitcoin for 20% off. Hey, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp by sharing the Sound Money Gospel and set those notifications for the best in Bitcoin news delivered to you daily. Hey, I love you guys. Catch you tomorrow. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, you.